Hi everyone, my name is Ol Martin. I'm the founder and CEO of Sporting Global. And in today's episode, we have a very interesting conversation with Marlon Tseng. He's involved in 3 different companies, PagSmile, SmileOne, and DreamMax. And they have all one thing in common, esports. So if you're passionate about esports, if you want to be part of this industry, stay tuned right after this. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Sporting Global podcast. And today I'm here with Marlon. And Marlon, how are you?
Good. How about you? How's everything?
I'm good, thanks. It's a pleasure having you part of the podcast, and we're really excited to have you here, of course, and sharing a little bit about your journey, in a lot of different areas, but of course, mainly focusing to the esport industry, your different roles in 3 different companies, and of course, some final tips that you have for people that want to embark this journey. But first and foremost, of course, it's a pleasure having you here, and thanks once again for taking the time.
Thank you as well for the invitation. It's very nice always to join this kind of a program and then speak, talk about the industry that we are working, that we are so passionate about it. And then so we can involve more people and then spread more knowledge. And then, it's always very nice to have a chat and then put this kind of content online. So also thank you very well for inviting me here today.
Absolutely. But I think we'll just jump right into it. I think and I guess first and foremost, take us a little bit back, to how did your journey, I guess, in the esport industry begin? Where I guess did this passion come from?
Well, so basically, how the journey started. I was doing my master's degree in China, so by that period, was a long time ago. So in that time, the sport was starting to getting around tractions in Asia. Earlier than here in Latin America, right. And then we see a huge trend of games becoming more hardcore games to become just instead of casual games to becoming more competitive games and then focus on the content and the esports. So the company that I was working with was a game publisher actually. So we had by that time a title called Blood Strike, which is a FPS game. It's a browser game, so didn't require to the users to actually download the game, but they could play it by the website directly. So it was very popular because was the time that Facebook was very popular as well. So those mini games that you are able to play through the Facebook. So our game was the same hype, and then we had a lot users here in Brazil playing this game by that time, and then we start to see this a trend from the esports. So this is how my journey started. So instead of just being a casual game from the Facebook, we start to try to shape this game into the more competitive mode, where we start to organize some championships for this game. And then that's how my journey starts. So we start by creating official championships, and then for the game to engage, and then so we start to understand more how does work this esport, let's say, industry, and then what's the needs of the teams they have, and so on. So basically, this is how it started. This was back in 2015, so it's been almost 6 years ago, and then a lot changed from there to here. But anyway, so that's actually how I started it, like
Yeah.
to have more like a close connection with the sports. That's
Right.
basically from my job. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a very interesting story though, and as you were saying, like talking about like that, hype of browser games, like which I mean, like
Yes,
there's
yes,
still
definitely.
there's still some today though. I think that it's like sometimes like just happens to do pretty well, which is, again, it comes down to
Yeah,
accessibility, right?
yeah, it comes accessibility. The by that time the of a browser game was I would say like a era before the mobile phones. So like the mobile phone wasn't quite popular as is it now today.
Right.
So a lot tremendously, like a lot of people here in Brazil, they didn't have a very good computer to play like a CSGO or
Yeah.
play like heavier titles that require downloads.
Right.
So our game actually was really doing very well because of that, because of the
Mhm.
accessibility. So basically, any people who has a computer could play the game. So the title is FPS. So basically, a FPS game is bring the emotion when you bring the competitiveness into the game, and then you bring like this e-sport like a tournament into the ecosystem. So
Right.
these guys, they were like want to play maybe sometimes heavier games, and they see there's championship happening in the heavier games,
Mhm.
and then they maybe the only option they had was like playing a browser game.
Right.
But so what we did is like we try to deliver the same like opportunity experience that he would
Mhm.
have in playing the heavier games. Like he can join the championship. So I think it was very, very nice work. Like we received a lot like by that time, because as we are discussing here, it's a browser game, so it's very light. So we had a lot like users say like oh, thank you very much, like I cannot play other games, but I'm able to play your game.
Mhm.
Thank you,
Right.
because of your game I'm all away from the drugs and from the streets, like.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Oh, that's
there is a
great.
lot like a case like this, very nice, like by when you are working directly with the game publishers, you see like that you actually affecting the people's life, and in the positive way, because we
Right.
tend to see like, oh, games is like a wasting time of people, but sometimes it's like really do
Yeah.
better than the worst, like in the life of somebody,
No, but I mean,
like.
like,
So it's
I,
very.
I think even like in the pandemic, right? Like if we're fast forwarding a little bit to today's situation, like I mean, like I would argue like 100% that if it wasn't for being able to play games like with my friends, like with my colleagues, like online, like during the pandemic, like it would be a lot rougher. It's a way to like stay close to your friends and like stay in touch and have that at least like some sort of okay, we're kind of like a little bit closer now during this challenging time. So I think it's been almost more important than ever than with this
Yeah,
situation
yeah.
with
I
online.
just, yeah, I agree totally. I just recently saw the news from the new Zoom, like, Generation Z and the millennials, they 80% of those two generations, they play video games in 2021. So
Right.
it's like, like at some point you can understand it's become some sort of a way to us connect with other people, and then through, because it's like a uh, game kind of becomes such like a social thing. I think it's way
Oh.
that we can connect our patients, and then we can connect with other people, like you just said, and the few that you're close to the like colleagues or friends.
Mhm.
Yeah, during the pandemic, like I had some friends that we were not so in touch for a couple of years, because
Yeah.
like after 30s, your life just driving away, and then like you start to focus on your career and then your stuff.
Right.
So during the pandemic, like a couple of friends that I was in touch for a long time, like we start to get in touch through the Call of Duty, and
Nice.
they start to invite me to play, and we play sometime, not much because
Sure.
I don't have much time, but this is nice, always nice, because you can directly talk through the game, so you have this like a moments during the week interaction with your friends that you maybe if it wasn't for the game you wouldn't be there, and then it's a way to connect with them and then catch up. It's actually was very nice actually. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I guess like, just going a little bit forward in the podcast here and talking a little bit about like your involvement and I mean like in technically like three different companies, like you have PagSmile, SmileOne and DreamMax, and I guess like how do you balance your time in in each one, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of responsibility there.
Yeah, so basically, I think the key secret is know how to delegate the tasks to your team, and then have a strong team. So I'm very glad that I have very good peoples and nice peoples that work with me. So we are able to share these responsibilities, and then yeah, each of the head of the operation, they are very versatile in doing what they are supposed to do. So there is a lot this like not only trust, but there is this a lot commitment from them, from the mutual sides, and then I think that's it. So despite I'm at the head of like the business here, each of these business require different demands, and then so if you have the right people that can help you to continue your work, and then can do the right follow-ups. It's still demanding, but it's much easier to go through your day, like your work, and
Yeah,
then because you have these people also like working with you and pushing forward. So basically that's it. Nowadays I'm much more focused on the PagSmile business, and then
right.
DreamMax, it's actually my hobby, so it's still a
Yeah,
hobby that become kind of like a business, like
yeah,
because it's a team, so requires also time and then dedication to manage the players and so on.
mhm,
But if you have the right people to help you, and then to do the operation and work with you, I think if everything become easier. So
right.
in my case, basically that's it. I think I'm a big time for my team, and then that's it basically.
Yeah, I mean like team is everything, right? Getting the right kind of players involved, and I mean like in this the players being
Yeah,
the staff and helping you out.
is that exactly. I think that's why it's important your platform as well, like to find the right people, so
Right.
person to the right position. Like it's
Yeah.
extremely important. Like there is a saying that well, if you think paying expensive to an employee, it's expensive. Hire somebody who is not right person, it's going to
Right.
be much more expensive in the end of the day, because you'll be
That's the
wasting
thing,
time,
right?
energy, and yeah.
It's
Exactly.
it's about finding the best suitable people, to help in whatever the kind of organization that is. And I guess like if we're focusing a little bit on your role as the GM of PagSmile, and kind of like one of your main, you know, I guess priorities these days, like what are some of your key responsibilities with PagSmile, and I guess also how do you involve PagSmile into the esport industry with your other, I guess, companies and such?
Right. So basically, PagSmile was created by the gap that we saw in the game industry, to provide like a good payment solution for the users, especially the users who had like a hard time in paying with credit cards. So they were like lacking of options to pay through the alternative payment methods. And if you see the region that we are operating here in Brazil and the Latin, each of these countries, they have a huge percentage of people that still doesn't have the bank account or have access to the credit card. So we saw this need, and that is how PagSmile created. And then we start to fill this demand, and then give this option and then this payment experience from the users, and then by optimizing the time of delivering the service. So once even the user is using, the cash payment, he can be receiving the product of the service almost the same time as using a credit card. So was a huge difference payment. So the payment was very associated to the game industry, like I said. So this is how like PagSmile was like into the game industry. So this is how PagSmile is approaching like the esport also. So we are sponsoring some like esport teams. We sponsor some like esport events. We try to be very close to our users, and then I think like most users here in Brazil, they know about PagSmile, like they're familiar with the brand because we are in major like games here in Brazil, connected to major games here. And then so our idea is like to keep expanding, creating this synergy with the game industry, and then like be there for this industry, make life of the players easier once comes to the payment, and giving them more accessibility. I think this is the key word, accessibility, and then to he be able to enjoy, whatever product service he would would like to buy online. So there is option online to offline, online to offline. And then about the key responsibilities here, I think my key responsibilities here would be like to make sure that our teams it's fully connected, because as you know, like we have a team based here in Brazil, which is the head of Latin America operation, and we have a team based in China. So I think my key responsibility here would be like ensure that the team here in Brazil, everybody is working well, and then have this like a connection also with our team in China. As well, like creating the payment network here in Latin America. So creating network with the acquirers, with the banks, with the partners, and so on. So make sure also that our partners, they are happy with PagSmile. So make sure that they have everything they need, and then everything the operation is running as smooth as possible, and then expand the operation. So now I have a very big responsibility to expand the operation through the other countries here in Latin America, and then also expand the operation in Brazil as well. So basically that's it. So this year we'll be fully operating in Mexico, Colombia, Chile, and Peru. So it's a big step for us. And then it's a new market that we'll be covering. So it's a new like a page, it's a new experiencing, and then it's a new challenge. So I would say this is the key like responsibility for me now.
Makes total sense, and I love kind of like that involvement into the industry, will like being involved in the different kind of events, as you said, being close to the different kind of users and partners, to kind of like, okay, we're here not only as a brand and a sponsor, but we're actually here as a good solution for you in whatever you have to deal with in payment wise and so forth. So I think that's really important. And I guess if we move on a little bit into SmileOne, what would you say is kind of like the purpose of SmileOne, and how essentially does it help content creators out there?
Right, perfect. So SmileOne basically is a page that we aggregate multiple games and servers, and then we provide these like a servers to everybody. Again, the main problem that we saw, it's like for example, if you go to the Google Play and the Apple Store, majority of players who would like to purchase something inside, they would have a very limited options of payments. They would have only maybe credit card, and then sometimes not a different alternative payment, but not a big range that we are offering. So basically, SmileOne it's come to help, like again, to the market that we are operating, give it this large range of alternatives, and then accessibility for the players. And then also we give this discount on the contents that the players are purchasing in the SmileOne. So it's like it's a win-win situation and user win. We generate more traffic and the leads for the developers. We have those transactions ongoing. So it's I think every party there will be like a win-win situation. And then how to help the creator contenters. We have these smile coins, and then we have so we are able to transform this into pin codes, and then we distribute these pin codes to the creator contenters, and then the contenters can be affiliated to the SmileOne and then resell it, and then also get a percentage of the sales by the affiliate programs. So they sometimes they can do like also like giveaways with your codes, and then so they will have a unique link to track their sales. So this is the way how we can help like the create contenters to start engaging their like base users by giveaways, by like also like a way of a donation, because if somebody is buying through their unique link, they are helping the content creator as well. So and then so they're not just like donating to him, but because actually they are buying something and then he's receiving as well, right? So it's a win-win situation again for the both sides. It's not just I'm gonna donate to him and that's it. No, I will receive the game credit that I already play, so at a better price. So that's the idea here. So yeah, basically that's it. So I think the SmileOne also, since we have a multiple service, not only games, for example, if you have a different needs, in Brazil we have like iFood. It's similar to Uber Eats. It's integrated to the platform. So instead of maybe top up into some game that I wanna, maybe today I wanna eat something different, I can use it. iFood, I can or different services like Spotify, Netflix, or top up to recharge credit in your mobile phone. So that's it. So we are not like a typical platform just for top up games, but we also offer different range of a service and then aggregate value through the process. So again, the user it's the one who benefit from this, because once you have the currency or the credit on the platforms, you can have access to this large range of a service that we provide there in the platform.
And I mean, like it's kind of like how can I say that? Well, at the end of the day, like I mean, like the content creators and the users, I mean, like they need food, they need other services. So I mean, like they can't just sit around play games all the time, so they need like some food and then having that accessibility to the other stuff too, while I mean in a sense as well supporting those content creators, like of course like getting like some benefits out of it. Like it's sort of like, as you said, it was kind of like a win-win situation, because you have to buy food anyways, or you have to buy this for the game or whatever you want to do, and then that's sort of like creates that additional value, and that I think is very, very important. And I guess like talking a little bit about your hobby, or what you were kind of like referring to your hobby more on the DreamMax side with the professional esport team. I guess like what kind of growth have you seen, or like growth areas have you seen recently being involved like with the team itself, and like just in the process of that, what is like the areas within, I guess, esport, professional esport team development have you seen happening recently in that space?
I think it's very trending now. The sport not just focus on the team to compete, but the teams. It means almost like you have a club, football club, let's say, for instance. So it's becoming like a more not just a compete, but also creating the content. So if you see like a son of the big, it's the like. The sports team around the world or in Brazil, they have, I would say they would be even like a 50-50% focus on the competition, 50% focus on, hiring influencers, hiring like people who actually not even competing, but to aggregate into the network and the brand of the organization
Right.
to create content like so whether it's like they are doing like a TikTok or like doing YouTube channel or doing like something, but they are creating content for the official page of the team. So we have several like teams that are doing very well here in Brazil. And then I think this movement start with the game called Free Fire that was very popular. It's very popular here in Brazil because again, it's very accessible, doesn't require high-end mobile phone to play this game.
Yeah.
So the user base is huge. So there is a lot huge teams that is starting from this game because
Mm,
the quantity of players and the users in these games was huge. So
right.
they grow very fast. There's this trend like a lot like big organizations, they are having like huge houses, and then so these people they are part like a appropriate part of like a create content. So they show like their lifestyle, they show like
Mm,
they're very nice cars, and then so like make other people want to follow this dream, like oh, I want to become my influencer for this organization, I want to become appropriate because I will have this life. So
right.
it's kind of like created this like model of okay, you can make it through the game industry if you are good enough or if you are creative enough,
Mm,
like so
right.
pushes a lot the audience to chase this kind of dream,
Mhm.
so yeah.
No, I mean, like that's very important though, because it doesn't limit the options, right, or the opportunities in a sense where,
Mhm.
of course, like I mean, like there's only a small percentage that are really good at playing games, that can compete at the
Yes.
highest possible level as in any sport, right? And so
Yes.
focusing on the creators and the content creators, like there's a lot of people that are really good at creating content and they're really good at like
Exactly.
creating the community thing, but doesn't necessarily have to be awesome at games. I mean, like I guess like a perfect
Yes.
example, right, if we talk about big content creators, is like PewDiePie, right? I mean, like PewDiePie started
Yeah.
like he was never good at games. He was just like making a lot of fun content, like playing these horror games, but he wasn't really good at it. But then of course, like
Mhm.
he's fun to watch and he creates a lot of great content. So I think that's a very important addition to seeing that, okay, if you're creating content, you're able to build a community around you, like that's also valuable for an esport organization. We're not just focusing
Mhm.
on competitive players that are just going to compete in the competitions.
Mhm. Exactly. So that's how. So that's a big trend I see from the sport organizations. I think this is like a trend, and it makes sense because through the content you connect with more people to assimilate your organization to the brand, right? Like
Mhm.
so that's through like a maybe I'm a fan of that influencer. That influencer is representing a certain organization, so indirectly I'll be fan of that organization as well. So,
Right.
so this is really a good way to like expanding your like fan base from the organization, expand your ecosystem, and then you give this also opportunities. So by the time they can create like program like become our like create content so people can participate these in the process. And like you said, not necessary like it's just a few people that's really like a really good in the competitive level. It's very stressful to be a pro player, like a, and then it's not also from my experience, it's not all the pro players that like to do content because they're focused on training and playing. So they don't have much time to do content. Some of them they like, so they are managing this both very well, training and doing the content. But some pro players, they are more like an introvert. They like just they are not they are extremely good, but maybe they are not like a popular as a creative contenter, that is funny but play not so good, but he's engaging constantly in the community. So you having these both people under your organization and living in the same house doing kind of reality show and constant contents, it's success. Like it's the formula for the success, I think, nowadays for the sports here in Brazil.
It's a really massive point, I think, and I guess like now though, to sort of like wrap this podcast up a little bit with sort of like a key final question here, and like since you're part of the esport industry in very I would say three different ways. In a sense, like you have the professional team, you have kind of like that platform for content creators and sort of like that solution, plus also like the payment opportunity being involved in esports. So it's kind of like three different way of looking into and being involved in the esport industry. And I guess like if you have any tips for sports students or kind of like professionals out there looking to be part of the esport industry in a capacity, like what kind of tips do you have for them from based on your experience?
So basically, I would say like follow like the sport teams that they are passionate about it. Try to understand more the business, because actually behind the sport teams, there is a lot. It's a business, right? So with a big organization, there is a finance behind it. There is like content creators. There is like a video editors. There is designers. There is like a operation managers, there is like a coach, there is like analyst, there is psychologist, so like you can see like I think the tip will be like try to see the behind it of the organization, like the needs, and then try to see them as a business, and then I think the big organizations, they some of them, they even like post job positions opening in the website. If not the website, their LinkedIn. So I think LinkedIn is a very good tool to connect with the create this network. Try to connect with the people that are in this industry, and like expand your network, and then follow the people that are like always creating contents about like the sport, like or like doing some sort of a webinar or some approach. But I would say like basically try to understand the business models of these organizations, and then see what's their needs, what's their demands, and then follow with their news, follow with their like job position opening, and then I'll always have something to start, like maybe as trainee, and then you start to prove that you are able to get more responsibilities, and then into changing into like like a bigger role, and then start getting like a real pay, really paid for the job. So yes, basically that's the experience I would say. Like we had a couple of trainees that start as trainee, and now it's like employees from our companies, and they're working with us. So I think that's it. So I always try to show like the that's the commitment, right? Like that you
Right.
want to know more, you understand, you did your research, and then you know what you're talking about, and then like and then try to show this to the organizations or to the industry. Pretty sure there's a lot space, especially nowadays that this segment industry is growing very fast. So again, there is different a lot different needs for the different positions, and then pretty sure there is always something around there for you to study. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, with that, Marlon, I would like to thank you, so much for taking the time for sharing your insights and tips with all of us. And of course, if you're still watching, and listening to this episode, make sure to like the video, subscribe as well if you haven't already. We're giving key tips, from leaders like Marlon, like in the esports sport industry, sharing their tips and insights every week. So make sure to do that, and make sure to write in a comment like what is your favorite esports team? What kind of role do you want to work with? And we'll take a look at that as well. And thank you so much, Marlon.
Thank you as well, and then thank you everybody, and then guys, it's a pleasure to be here, and then wish good luck for everybody starting this journey, or the ones who is already in this journey. It's a very nice industry, sometimes very stressful, but in the end, it's the journey is very nice journey. Yeah,
for sure. And with us and with every video we do, we always finish with some Norwegian, Marlon. So I gotta teach you some Norwegian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So with every video we do, we always finish with "Vi snakkes," which means see you later in Norwegian.
Can I listen just for one more time again? Like, repeat again?
Vi snakkes.
Vi snakkes.
There you go. Nice job.
Yeah,
nice
that's
job.
It. Okay. It was my first try. It was
you did great. All right. Thank you so much.